Welcome to another episode of Drops of Science, the multilingual scientific podcast that brings you the latest news, updates, and discoveries in natural sciences. The first news takes us to the United States, where a recent study addressed the issue of invasive species. These species, whether introduced intentionally or accidentally, have strong negative impacts on economic, ecological, human health, and social systems, with costs equal to those of natural disasters such as storms and earthquakes. For this reason, knowing the risk they represent is of great importance. Thanks to a collaboration between researchers from the United States and Ireland, it was possible to analyze over 15,000 imported species, including fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals, to identify those with the highest risk of establishing, spreading, and causing damage to ecosystems. Although many invertebrates are treated as pets, invasive vertebrates dominate this sector, with adaptive traits that favor their survival and spread. Among the species assessed, 22 reptiles and 10 fish were identified as high risk. Many of these animals, due to their role as top predators or the unique ecological niche they occupy, can disrupt natural ecosystem processes. Some snake species also pose a direct threat to human health. For fish, the problem is amplified by frequent use as bait or by farming. These are often generalist, highly prolific species that can quickly displace native species. Birds, mammals, and amphibians were not classified as high risk, but 54 bird species, 11 mammals, and 1 amphibian were classified as medium risk. Among mammals, many omnivorous or predatory species can compete with local fauna, act as agricultural pests, or transmit diseases to wildlife and humans. Amphibians were mostly classified as low risk, with the exception of the Mauritian toad, Sclerophrys mauritanica, which was classified as medium risk. However, the greatest threat to amphibians is not other invasive species, but a pathogenic fungus, Batrachochytrium dendrobatidis, which is decimating populations worldwide. This study highlights the importance of being responsible with pets and not releasing them into the wild, as even a seemingly harmless action can have serious consequences. Knowing which species are found in domestic environments is also essential to prevent new invasions and develop more effective regulations for the importation of animals. We remain among vertebrates, but we move to Africa, where an important discovery has been made about leopards and their voices. According to the UCN Red List of Threatened Species, leopards are listed as vulnerable, mainly due to habitat loss and human-wildlife conflict. However, monitoring these species is particularly difficult due to their solitary nocturnal nature and the vastness of their territories. From the University of Exeter in Great Britain comes a breakthrough that could improve the monitoring and study of these species. Scientists installed 50 pairs of video cameras and microphones in trees along roads and paths in the Nyerere National Park in Tanzania, an area of about 450 km². The aim was to record both the images and the sounds made by leopards, in particular their characteristic sow roar, a repeated pattern of low and deep sounds. Scientists analyzed the roars to see if it was possible to distinguish one leopard from another, a bit like recognizing a person by their voice. To do this, they first extracted the main features of the roars, such as the pitch and the rhythm, which represent a sort of sonic fingerprint. Then, they used an advanced mathematical model called a hidden Markov model, capable of analyzing how the roar varies over time. Initially, when they analyzed only the main features, they were able to identify individual leopards with an accuracy of 46.6%. But when they used mathematical models, which also consider the rhythm and the sequence of sounds, the accuracy increased to 93.1%, making the recognition much more reliable. This means that, thanks to this method, it is possible to distinguish individual leopards from their roars with great accuracy. The combined use of complementary technologies such as video cameras and microphones represents a significant advance. It allows us to monitor animals on larger spatial scales than traditional methods, and it could also revolutionize the monitoring of elusive species, such as leopards. This approach provides crucial data for the conservation and management of these vulnerable species. Let's now talk about plants, especially trees, and their essential role in cities to regulate air temperature. It is known that trees can significantly lower urban temperatures during the day, which is why many cities are implementing mitigation strategies based on planting. A European research team analyzed the results of 182 studies covering 17 climates in 110 cities or regions globally, published between 2010 and 2023, offering the first comprehensive global assessment of urban tree cooling to create guidelines in the field of urban green architecture. While the study confirmed the ability of trees to significantly cool cities, it is also highlighted a lesser-known phenomenon. At night, tree canopies can increase temperatures. For example, in the tropical wet and dry climate, trees can cool cities by up to 12 centigrades during the day, as recorded in Nigeria, but at night they can increase the temperature by up to 0.8 centigrades. In temperate climates, trees can cool cities by up to 6 centigrades during the day, but warm them by up to 1.5 centigrades at night. How do we explain this? During the day, trees provide shade by blocking short-wave solar radiation. Their leaves perform evapotranspiration, and their foliage also modifies the surrounding airflow aerodynamically. But at night, the tree's spacious canopies can trap long-wave radiation from the ground surface, increasing temperatures. The study didn't stop there. The researchers also provided guidelines for selecting the best tree species for each climate. For example, in tropical and temperate climates, a mix of deciduous and evergreen trees in open urban environments was found to be more effective for cooling. In arid climates, however, evergreen species in compact urban landforms were found to have a more significant impact. The right tree in the right place is therefore the guiding principle for maximizing environmental benefits and reducing energy consumption in cities, helping to counteract the effects of the urban heat island. The last news brings us to Yakutia, Siberia, where the thawing of the permafrost has revealed the best preserved carcass of a mammoth in the world. The specimen, named Yana, is a female, probably a cub of 1 year old, who lived about 50,000 years ago. Weighing about 180 kilos, tall 120 centimeters and long 200 centimeters, it was found near the Batagaika research station, a place known as the gateway to the underworld, because of its 1 kilometer deep crater, which has already revealed remains of other prehistoric animals, such as bisons, horses and dogs. Yana will be studied by scientists from the Northeastern Federal University of Russia, which has a research center and a museum dedicated to mammoths. This discovery offers an extraordinary opportunity to understand better the life of these prehistoric creatures and the environment in which they lived. This concludes today's episode of Drops of Science. Thanks for staying with us. See you soon, and good science! it was possible to analyze Thanks to a collaboration between researchers from the United States and Ireland, it was possible to analyze over 15,000 imported species.